Hello there, Cancers. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. This is for the month of October. Happy Halloween, everybody. The first time frame that we're actually going to look at, though, is the first third of the month. We're going to look at October the 1st through the 10th. After that, we're going to be breaking time frames down into 1 week at a time. But for this is going to be October 1st through 10th that we're looking at right now. I'm just waiting till it feels right to stop shuffling your cards. Oh, your first one hit the table. It's a nice one, too. It's a nice one, too. All right, let's put some cards down. Okay, Cancers, here is what we're looking at. We're going to start with the environment, and the environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. And remember, this is all just for the time frame of October 1st through 10th, not for the whole month. I like to break this down because I like to watch the flow of energy as we move through the month, not just one overarching thing. I think that's a little too vague to go on. Anyway, looking at the environment, what's going on here? We've got a puzzling combination of cards. Okay, I'm going to just put these out here, and you guys are going to have to figure out how this applies in your life, because I'm not sure that I can think of examples that are not just a little bit on the cray-cray side. So I'm just not even going to try to put examples out here. But what I can tell you about your environment is that there's a lot to like about it. There's a lot to like about your environment. At the same time, I see you walking away from the environment and ending some kind of contract or agreement that you have around the environment or around somebody that is in the environment. Okay. So I think that you actually like and enjoy the environment, but you're walking away. You're ending a contract or agreement about the environment. So maybe this isn't as crazy as I thought. Maybe that you really like where you are, but you're ending you're ending your lease, or you're walking away from your lease here. Or if it's a mortgage, maybe you're walking away from the mortgage. But walking away from some type of contract or agreement around an environment that you actually like and enjoy. Not sure why you would do that. Maybe we'll get some more clues as we go through here. Let's take a peek, though, Cancers. Next, we're looking at your subconscious leanings. Looks to me like you're waiting to hear from somebody so that you can make a decision, but that person is not communicating with you. And so your subconscious is really working around this, like, okay, well, what do I do if I'm not hearing from this person and I need their input for this decision? What am I supposed to do with this? So that's what we've got going on in your subconscious, Cancers. Next thing I'm looking at talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style during this particular time frame. We're going to start with learning style. I'm just saying that there's definitely a lot of confusion around some particular part of your life right now. You are learning some things that you're curious about, but I really feel like there's not that much information that you're picking up because of curiosity. I feel like you may be really focused on this other thing that's causing you confusion, to the point that it's hard for you to focus on something that you're just curious about. It's not the top priority right now. Excuse me. But I do feel like there are other parts of your life where there's a lot of clarity coming in that wasn't there before, and you're seeing some details that you didn't understand before or see before. So we've got kind of a mixed bag. There's something you're definitely, all the information that's coming to you is really confusing. As far as things that you're just interested in and you're learning about because you're interested in, that's there. But I don't see that as strong as I normally see that when it shows up. So I don't think you're putting a lot of time and energy into that type of information right now or finding that out right now. There is some clarity coming in, though, around something going on in your life, and it's really highlighting some things that you haven't noticed before that maybe have sort of been in the shadows. Now, I want to look next at your communication style. It looks like there's somebody or there's some kind of situation where you're dipping your toe into communication and that's it. You're just checking to see what that is going to be like if you communicate with that person or in that arena. Excuse me. So just really testing out, seeing if your communication is going to even be accepted there. And we have another aspect of your communication that's very reflective. What I'm getting is, the principles of active listener, and one of those principles of being an active listener is listening to what somebody is saying and then putting it in your own words and asking them, so what I think I'm hearing is da 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 da, said in your own words, is that right? That type of thing. I think you're doing a lot of reflective communication where you are making sure that you're on the same page with another person, that you're reflecting back to them. So this is what you're saying to me, right? You're just making sure you understand. And then the last thing that I have, there is somebody who you are communicating with in a very passionate, very emotional way. You're sharing your emotions with them, and I don't think that these are necessarily calm versions of communication. Okay? Could be very enthusiastic and passionate. All right. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your work, Cancer, during this particular time frame. What do we have showing up here? Looks like where things might have been tight at work or tense at work, that's starting to loosen up a little bit. There's starting to be more opportunities at work. And it also looks like you may be traveling for work very much. You may even be doing a different kind of work. You may be traveling and doing some other different kind of work during this time frame. So I don't necessarily have a sense of anybody quitting anything as much as I have the sense of moving on to something else. You guys may be traveling and taking a vacation and then you're going to come back to this. I do feel like whatever this is that you're moving on from or moving away from, you are coming back to this work. That's why it makes me wonder if you're not just taking a vacation. But even if you're taking a vacation, I do feel like there's an element of work about that. Whatever that is, where you're away from work, I still feel like you're still doing some kind of work, even if it's not the traditional, normal style for you. Okay? La da 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 da. And for a lot of you, this is that you work online, actually. But I still feel like, even if you work online, I think that you may be traveling as well during this time frame. Ba da 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 da. Let's look at inner work. It looks to me like you have sort of stepped away from some of the relationships in your life right now because you want to really do some work on yourself and do some self-care. And it comes across to me that some of the other people in your life may sort of interfere with that. They may want you to fill your time caring for them. And so for you to actually be rejuvenated, you may have to step back and sort of make the time to take care of yourself. So that's inner work. La da 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 da. That part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now, is what we're looking at next here, Cancers. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Let's see. So that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now, there is a situation where you are recovering from something that was suddenly and unexpectedly removed from your sphere of influence, something that had made you feel secure before it got removed. And you're recovering from this. And it looks to me like you're recovering from this with a little help from your friends, especially a particular person. And this is going to be somebody who you may be enlisting the help of a lawyer or an accountant. It could be a professional person, but it doesn't have to be. But there's a particular person that shows up here that is helping you with this, and that is somebody who is very logical about things, very down to earth. They think things through, they catch the details, and they really bring everything all together. They can be very focused in bringing a solution to the point for you. So it looks like you're recovering through the help of this person who's a friend, but also other friends as well are helping you to recover from whatever that situation was that left you shook up, security-wise. Now, the next thing we're looking at is those things that you stand for right now. Cancers, it looks like you have a situation where I'm going to say this is probably a love situation, because I just think it is. I just think it is. There's a situation where, and when I say it's probably a love situation, that doesn't necessarily mean romantic, but some type of relationship. Could be family relationship or friendship. But there is a situation where you were basically released from a friendship or from some type of relationship. You were let go, dismissed. All right? And it looks to me like this is a pretty final situation, and I think that whatever this was, the person tried to do it in a fair way. Like whenever they, it wasn't something that was trying to be hurtful as they let you go. So they may have been, if there was property to divide up, if there were photographs to divide up, if there were pets to figure out who's going to take care of them, I think they're trying to be very fair as they do this. They're trying to be very fair and balanced as they do this. But still, this is still somebody letting go. And I think that there's real genuine love in this situation. There is genuine love in this situation. I can see that here. But it looks to me like this person is, that doesn't change the fact that this person is basically making a final break and sort of dividing everything up so that there's no reason to come back to each other and have communications, and there's no sort of excuse to light the fire again, so to speak. Okay? And I think that you are standing up for that situation. You're standing up for that person. Like, you can see why they're doing that. Somebody may be criticizing them to you, but you can see why they did that, and so you're defending them. All right, next that we have coming up is how this person that you defended the other person to feels about you. First of all, they feel like you can be pretty naive. That's the first thing. They also feel like you're definitely in a point where you're feeling disappointed, and they're pretty much expecting you to have an emotional meltdown at some point. Okay? So you may be defending this person now, but I don't think they're expecting you to necessarily feel like defending this person as time goes on. Okay? Kind of as the blinders come off, they expect you to not be in such a mood to defend them. All right, Cancers, let's look at your flex point during this time frame and see what's going on there, where things are changing. We do see you as a single, self-sufficient individual, obsessed, unfortunately, with going back to something from the past. And it looks like you're really struggling with this because there's not any success with bringing this back or trying to revive this. At the same time, I think you're really having trouble letting go of the obsessive part of just thinking about this other person and trying to make it work. Okay. Next thing that we have showing up during the same time frame, I feel like when I see these cards here, I kind of feel like you're getting in some kind of news or some kind of message that's telling you that this other person that you're obsessed with and that you would like to get back together with, that they have somebody else, that they've moved on. And I think that is sort of cutting things out for you. That's where you're not necessarily wanting to move back to them anymore, get back together with them. I think once you find out that they've moved on, I think you're kind of done with this, is what this is telling me. Let's see what else we have happening at the same time. Yeah, I think that's bringing you to a point of acceptance that this is over and that it's time for you to make a new beginning. And I do think that you're going to be moving forward, and I think you're going to be moving forward with somebody different. Because with this Four of Water showing up here, this is a definite acceptance that, okay, that is over. I mean, this is really kind of more on the side of pity party that is over. And out of those negative energies is where you're deciding, you know what, that's okay, I'm going to move on. It's not like there's not somebody else who wants to be with me. And so you decide to move on with this other person. And that decision is sort of made out of these negative, woe is me, that person, move on from me, and just kind of angry emotions that actually fuel that decision to start new with somebody else. Where do we see you at the end of this time frame? What is going on here? There's something that you're trying to work out or work on, and this could be a work project, but I'm more inclined to think that it has to do with the things we were seeing before, that, you know, you're trying to work out this relationship that this other person has already counted as dead and done and over. And I think that you're really impatient to see this thing brought back to life. And because it's not actually coming back to life, even though you've moved on, I think even though you've moved on, you still would like to light the fire again with this other person. And because it's not happening, I think you're kind of going into a funk where your attitude is, you know, more pessimistic than optimistic. Shall we say that? So that's where we see you at the end of this time frame. You're kind of in a funk right now. You're still reaching and stretching for this relationship that has ended, even though you're in a new one and moving forward, because you really haven't done the healing work to get past that last one first. Okay? So now, what do I always tell you guys? The reason that we get these readings ahead of time is because if we see something that we don't like going on in our lives, we have free will. And so we can make some decisions that will change the outcome here. So you guys can literally make my cards not be true just by changing your free will, by working things out and making a decision that, you know, I'm going to handle this in a different way. So you've got the chance there. You've got the chance there to do it if you desire. Okay? So thank you for being here. Let me take a little break and then I'll come back and we'll look at the next week of October. See you soon. Okay, Cancers, welcome back. Whoops. We already have cards trying to flip over. Looks to me like your second time frame, which is going to be October 11th through the 17th that we're looking at this time, might be a little chaotic. Sometimes when the cards flip, that means that there's a lot going on. Sometimes it may be a little bit hard to keep up with everything just exactly the way that we want to. So we're just going to keep on shuffling until it feels right, and then I'm going to put down some cards and we'll see what's happening for you, Cancer. Okay. Almost there. Okay, let's start with your environment, Cancers. What do we have coming up for the environment? There is some kind of indecision that we have going on with the environment. There is a message here that things are getting better in the environment. Now this could be, things are getting better financially, or this could also be that something is functioning better actually in your environment. But there is some indecision going on here, and I think you may not be so happy about what your environment is like right now. So even though things are getting better, I don't see you being satisfied by that, at least not during this time frame. And also, to be fair, you just have a message that things are getting better. They may not technically be getting better yet, which is maybe why you're just still not happy there. Now, as the air conditioner kicks in, I know that's really loud. My apologies, guys. Next thing that I'm looking at is subconscious leanings. It looks to me like you have a friend or family member who is really getting on your last nerve, just jumping up and down on that last nerve. And I think that they are basically doing that because what they're saying to you could be really sarcastic or cutting. They could be being really smart pantses when you're trying to be serious. And so I think that you are working on, subconsciously, you're working on, how do I make this situation better? What do I do about this situation? Next thing we're looking at, Cancer, tells me about learning style first, and then we'll look at communication style. So, learning style. I do think you're getting a lot of clarity around not one, but actually several situations in your life right now. I feel like you don't feel like you're in control of those situations anymore, is what I'm hearing, but you are getting a lot of clarity around them now. I think a lot of what you're learning is making you feel really emotional, both in good ways and in bad ways right now. And I think that also you're starting to realize that there are other things that you want to focus on than these things that are making you feel really emotional, and these things that you're getting clarity on. The clarity, I think, is making you feel like, I'm kind of glad that I know what I know now. Now I want to start looking at other things. I want to start going down the path of other things. Communication style during this particular time frame. I think you're going to be really clear on your communication, although I don't feel like you're going to be doing a lot of pre-warning I don't think you're going to be doing a lot of hinting about what's to come in your communication. And so I think when you communicate to somebody during this time frame, some of the things that you're saying, even though they're strong and they cannot be turned around, I think they may be very surprising to the other person when they hear that. There is a lot actually that you're talking about, and I think you're not only are you talking to friends, I think you're also talking to the divine or to sacred spirit during this time frame, and I think you're really talking about different things going on in your life and different things that have potential to happen in your life. And I think the other thing that you're really talking about here is this clarity that has been coming in and how it's really the key for you. It's provided you the key to make some decisions and go forward without feeling confused anymore. Definitely we have some drama that we're cleaning up here is what it looks like to me. Now next thing I'm looking at, we're going to look at work. We're going to look at outer work first and then inner work. Those of you who have been following me know that outer work for me is what you do to make a living or to feel productive in the community. Inner work has more to do with what you're doing to make yourself happier with who you are personally. First, outer work. You may be actually quitting a job, it looks like to me. You may be walking away from a job. And I think that you're doing it because you're feeling like it's just not in compatibility with your lifestyle that you want to create for yourself. Maybe this job is requiring you to go into COVID hotspots and you don't feel like medically that's a good idea for you. Or, you know, there's any number of things that can affront our sense of morality. And I feel like this is what's going on. I feel like this job is asking you to do something that's against your own moral code. And so I think you're walking away from this job. And I think that the walk away is a dramatic one. This could be kind of an explosive type of situation when you walk away from it. Let's look at inner work though. Before I pick these cards up, you are making some kind of lifestyle change. Definitely. And for me, a lifestyle change has to do with this idea of either your quality of life being better now and or the length of your life being longer. One of those two. Okay? And I think that part of this change that you're making does have to do with communication. I think that you're deciding that you no longer want to communicate in situations where the energy is much more negative than positive. So this could be maybe particular types of movies that are come across as negative to you. You may not want to watch them anymore. Those, you know, when we watch things like that, we are taking in communication. Maybe you have psychic vampires in your life and you're making that decision that, you know what, I can't afford emotionally, spiritually to be dealing with psychic vampires all the time. So, you know, there's something that has a very unstable, negative energy that you are moving away from for your own well-being, to improve your life. All right. Next thing we're looking at is that part of your personality where you're growing or expanding right now, Cancers. And right now is October 11th through the 9th. What do we have? What do we have? So it looks to me like you're a little bit sideswiped out of the blue. I think one of your friends does something to you that you're just like, what? I can't believe you even did that to me. I can't believe you even said that about me. I can't believe, you know, I think there's something that's very surprising that somebody that you consider a friend does to you. And where you're growing or expanding is you're taking that situation and you're just sort of taking it in stride, and you're looking at, okay, well, that's not a good thing in my life, and you're looking for the good things in your life, and you're focusing on them to move forward. Things that you stand for, things that you stand for. It looks like there's somebody in your sphere of influence who's totally in love with somebody. Not you, but somebody. Okay? And it looks like this other person does not feel the same towards the person that is in love with them. And so there's no plans to make this a long-term thing. There's no plans to make this a commitment. It may be that there was a little one-night stand, no strings attached type of thing, and now this person is in love, and there's no plans. And so somebody is saying something to you about this person that is in love with somebody that there's no future with, and you're defending that person. I think you're defending that person because you understand how that feels. Now, how does this other person view you? They're seeing you as somebody who is, that you've sort of hardened your heart in a particular situation. And it's a situation where you felt like you were just kind of put out in the cold, and so now you've hardened your heart. And somebody was not truthful with you, or was not true to you. I feel like there was lie or disloyalty there, and that left you out in the cold. And so now you've hardened your heart to that, and that's how this other person is seeing you, as somebody who's hardened your heart because of that situation. All right. Next thing that we're looking at is the flex point during this time frame. This is when things start to change a little bit for you during this week. So it looks to me like you are deciding that you're going to focus on things that are logical, on things that make sense, on things that add up, on running your home, on running your business, on taking care of your budget. And you're doing this because you feel like things haven't really been going right, and it's starting to get to you. It's starting to impact your mood. And so you're feeling like, okay, you know what? I have to focus on this, because if I don't focus on this, it's going to get out of control. And so now you're focusing on the everyday things that it takes to make life work and to make the budget work. What else is going on at the same time that you're becoming more focused here? What an odd combination. You got 3 10s all together. 10s are the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. It looks to me like you had a situation that you were actually trying to take to the next level, that it would have made you feel more secure in this manifestation. You know, this can be upgrading a home, upgrading a car, upgrading a job, getting a promotion. This could even be upgrading a relationship. But this thing didn't happen. Whatever it was, it didn't happen. And now you're feeling happy that it didn't happen. And you're feeling happy that it didn't happen because it's over. It's over. All that energy and stress that you've been putting in to upgrade this thing, you don't have to put that energy and stress to it anymore. And so you're just, I think it looks to me like you're happy that it's over. What else is going on? I think that you're also collaborating with someone. So you're happy that this other thing is over. You're focusing on logical things, probably even financial things, but definitely things that you can just really think about and work out the answers to in your mind, and then focus on and follow through. And at the same time, you're collaborating with somebody, but you're realizing that that person that you're collaborating with, you're seeing that they don't have all the resources that you thought that they did. They're not bringing as much to the table as you thought they did. And I think for a lot of you, it's not just about financial resources. I think that you're seeing that this person that you're collaborating with, maybe even this person that you moved on with from the last time frame, that they don't put, whenever they're computing things up here in their mind, everything doesn't compute in the same way that it would compute for everybody else. And they may be a little bit broken. They may be a little bit paranoid. They may have trust issues. You know, there's something going on here where things that would make sense to a normal person and would be logical are not exactly on the level with this person. Okay, and I think that you're starting to realize this as you're trying to focus on things that you can actually focus on and make a difference in. You're starting to see that this person is not as together or as with it as what you thought they were. They may not be as financially endowed as you thought they were either. But I think more importantly, they're not as together or with it as you thought they were. Okay, so let's look at where we see you at the end of the week. Okay, so Cancers. What do we have going on here? I think you're getting in some kind of news at the end of this week. That is basically saying that you've manifested kind of the opposite of what it is that you wanted to manifest during this week. Which, if you're doing that, if you're manifesting the opposite of what you actually want to manifest, what that tells me is that you've really been focused on the worst case scenario instead of best case scenario, and thinking about, what am I going to do in worst case scenario? How am I going to handle it if this disaster happens or that calamity happens? And by focusing on those things, you've actually brought them to you. So there's a very simple fix here to make these cards not true. And that fix is to decide that you're going to focus on the best case scenarios and things so that you can bring in, maybe it won't be the best case scenario, but at least it'll be better. And maybe it will be the best case scenario. What you focus on is what you actually create. So don't focus on whatever it is you're afraid of. Focus on whatever it is you're reaching for so that you can change the outcome here, change the way that week ends. Okay? That's what I've got for you for this time frame, my dears. Let me take a break. I'll come back and we'll look at the next week. Welcome back again, Cancers. This time we are looking at October the 18th through the 24th to see what comes up for you this time around. 18th through the 24th for Cancers. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing this video with other people that may find it helpful. And of course, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions. I appreciate all of your support. All of that allows me to be able to do what I love to do for a living. And it's very fulfilling, especially when I hear back from you guys that, oh, you're describing my life, or yeah, that's me, or that just makes me feel good about what I'm doing when I'm sitting here alone in front of a camera looking at things for you. Because I really like to do readings in person. I like to have people. But I know that this is the best way to be able to help the most people. So that really makes me feel good, and it kind of keeps me motivated to keep going with readings like this. So thank you. Thank you to all of you. That's nice. All right, my dears, let's see what comes up for your environment. Environment is, by the way, any place where you have energy or effort invested. Doesn't have to be home, but usually it is. Okay, so in your environment, sometimes your environment is your aura, by the way. This is really puzzling. There's something in your environment that's new, that you're really liking, you really appreciate. At the same time, you're sharing your environment with somebody who can have strong narcissistic tendencies and is really doing a whittle job on your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So your self-esteem and your self-confidence are falling in your environment because you're sharing your environment with somebody who is who has narcissistic tendencies. But I think there's something going on here where you're actually, there's something with this person with narcissistic tendencies that you're actually enjoying as well. So it's like there's some happiness making things coming out of here. Maybe this person is really charming and giving you some great compliments, but then they turn around and they say some things that also attack your self-esteem at your core value as well. And this is somebody you're sharing your environment with. Not too thrilled about that one for you, Cancer. That's not the kind of auspicious start that we want to have for your reading, for the time frame in the reading. Let's see what comes up next, though. Subconscious leanings. Lots of fire here. Problem is, there's definitely a lot of passion, a lot of chemistry going on here. Problem is there's a third party involved in this situation where there's a lot of chemistry and a lot of passion. And I'm thinking that you're pretty well aware of it and you're not appreciating it. And with your subconscious, you're really working on, okay, well, how do I get this third party out of this situation? What do I have to do to take care of that business? All right. La da da da. Next thing that I'm looking at here talks to me about, first of all, your learning style, excuse me, and secondly, your communication style. There are some things that are being kept from you as far as information that you're looking for. I don't really like that. But there's also some information and some clarity that is right under your nose that's almost calling you to take a look at it and to check it out and to evaluate it. And I feel like you're missing it. So there's something here that you could be paying attention to, that you could be learning from, that you could be using that information to make some decisions moving forward, but instead you're kind of sweeping that information under the rug because you don't want to look at it. There's a lot of confusion here. And there always is confusion whenever we're sweeping things under the rug, but then you also have somebody that's hiding information as well. So of course there's confusion here in the things that you're trying to learn about. Let's see about communication style. I feel like there are things that you want to say during this time frame from the 18th to the 24th, Cancer, that you're not. You're suppressing that. There are some things that you want to say that they could come out in a very aggressive way, and you're just holding back. You're not saying anything like that right now. You are trying to, as you communicate, you're trying to help other people understand something about yourself or something about your actions. You're trying to bring some clarity to some type of situation as you're communicating with somebody who apparently doesn't understand you that much. And then we do have some other people showing up too that you're not really sure how they're going to take you and what you have to say. And so I think you're just sort of dropping hints to those people and testing the water, trying to see what their reaction is. Interesting dancing going on when it comes to learning and communication right now, Cancers. Let's look at work. What's happening in work? Too many cooks spoil the soup, and what you've got going on is two bosses hanging out around you, and you are really stressing out. You've got one boss that looks at things much more from an emotional standpoint or direction, and another boss that looks at things very much from the bottom line or a financial type of way. And they both have certain expectations of you that are not necessarily the same. And I think this is really stressing you out, trying to tap the tap dance that keeps both of these people happy. So that's what we've got for work. Let's look at inner work. Inner work is that you have a decision to make and you're really divided about it because your heart is telling you one thing, your mind is telling you something else, and you're having a hard time choosing one over the other. Every time you think you've made a decision, then your logic will pipe up and say, yeah, but what if? And so when you swing that way, then your heart will pipe up and say, yeah, but you know. And so this is really causing a dilemma for you as far as inner work, just to make this decision. Somebody gave me some good advice on a decision one time. I'm going to pass it along to you. You can throw it in the trash can if you want, but I'm going to pass it along anyway. Do what you want with it. But they used to tell me, if you're trying to make a decision, then you want to just sit with that until the answer feels comfortable to you. You don't want to rush a decision and make a decision that the answer doesn't feel comfortable, because then you're going to always wonder and regret. But if you wait until the answer makes itself clear and makes itself obvious to you, then that's when it's time to make the decision. But you don't want to rush it. So try to buy yourself some time there. That's really stressing you out. For some of you, Cancers, you're trying to decide between two different people. Your inner work is deciding between two different suitors. And it's stressing you out. Okay. Next thing that we have coming up is that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded right now, Cancer. Oh, honey bunnies, look at this. You guys have somebody who is a friend who you're getting to know, and you're bonding a lot more with that person. And so that friendship is actually transforming into something much deeper. That's transforming into a deep and lasting love for that person. That's where you're growing or expanding right now. Somebody who you trust, somebody who you would consider a friend, and you are going beyond friend point with that person as far as your emotions go. You may be seeing them more as lover potential, or you may be seeing them more as family. It's going to be different for different ones of you, but definitely growing beyond friendship. Now, things that you stand for. You have managed to manifest something so that you don't have to decide between two people. You may have gotten somebody to break up with you so that you don't have to decide between two people. But whatever this is, you've actually manifested it. And you've manifested it because you don't want to choose between two people. It's easier for you if there's only one person. How is the person that said something about this to you feeling about you? They're actually feeling like this departure from whatever this was so that you would not have to choose between two. They're actually feeling like this was unfair, like the other person treated you poorly in this when they left and moved on. And they're feeling like you're the magician. You are able to manifest whatever it is that you want, and that this person treated you unfairly in the way that they treated you. They see this person leaving as a mistake. They're not seeing it as you manifested that, even though they know that you're really good at manifesting. Isn't that interesting? They kind of haven't connected all the dots there. Alright, let's look next at your flex point. Where are things changing during the week for you, Cancers? La da 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 da. Cancers, you're sitting actually in a pretty good position once we get into your flex point. You've got everything that you need to accomplish all the things you want to accomplish, but you're having a pity party anyway. You're feeling really sorry for yourself, and it's ruining your happiness. It's making it to where you can't even see that you have everything you want and everything you need. It's skewing your vision and ruining your happiness that you're having this pity party, even though you're in charge of your own abundance and you've got it covered. What else is going on at the same time that you're having a pity party? Looks like you have a lot of people around you that you're talking to at the same time. You have some that are encouraging you, and you have one who is being really sarcastic and cutting with you. So it looks like as you're having this pity party, you're talking to other people. You're trying to get other people to give you input, to be sympathetic. One is not buying it at all, and two others are encouraging. At the same time that all this is happening, things are actually going well for you. I'm kind of floored, like here's this pity party right in the middle of this, but things are actually going well for you. And you have, you're even able to put money in savings. Things are going well for you, but you do have one thing that's happening that is not so much fun, and that's that something is coming back from the past. Something that used to cause tension and restriction and arguments or debates. You've got that coming back from the past. And even when that comes back from the past, I don't think you're getting fully involved. You're sort of holding back. You're not fully engaging in this fight or in this tension. And that may be because of the support of these other people that you're not. These other friends. But the pity party is not making you very happy. I just really would like to see you guys not do a pity party. Just avoid that. Know that, your life is pretty good. It's very clear that you're pretty much in a good situation. Whatever you're pity partying about, it's ruining your happiness. Don't do that. Don't do that. Now, Cancer, where do we see you at the end of this week? We see you very much secure, very stable. And we see that you have desires, you have things that are exciting to you, that interest you. But you don't really want to collaborate with other people. So you are just kind of going solo for a little bit, feeling safe and secure, feeling stable, following those things that interest you, but following those things that interest you alone. You're not surrounding yourself with friends. You're not aligning yourself with a romantic partner. You're just kind of doing things on your own for right now. And I think you're enjoying it too. Okay? So that's what we have for that time frame, Cancers. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and I'll come back and then we'll look at the last week in your life in October of 2020. See you soon. Okay, Cancers, here we are back one last time. This is going to be for October 25th through Halloween, or October 31st. So, there goes your first card. Fell right on the table. Let's flip it over. Oh, 2 cards. All right. Nice cards, too. Let's see what happens. Shuffle till I feel like I'm done. I almost had another jump. For me, I take jumpers as enthusiastic messages from Spirit. So if they jump, I kind of like to pay attention to them. Alright, so we're not getting any more jumpers. I feel like we're ready with the rest of the shuffle, so we're going to put those down. Alrighty, let's go ahead and start with your home environment, Cancers, for October 25th through the 31st. You are definitely in charge of what's going on at home, and I feel like, well, in your environment, whether it's home or otherwise, but I think you're taking charge, you're taking control. Where other people were making decisions that really were in your court to make, I think you're taking those back, and you are making those decisions. It looks like you're really impatient to manifest some changes in your environment. I think that you are taking action, and probably speedy action, towards bringing those changes into being. But I do show that even with you taking control and working on bringing those changes in, it is still going to take some patience. These are not wave the magic wand and it's done type of changes that you're making. Okay? But you are in charge. All right, next thing that we have talks to me about your subconscious leanings. Okay, Cancers, it looks to me like you're in a situation right now where you have some pretty good self-esteem, self-confidence going, and you are ready to cut ties with somebody and let them go. I don't see you walking away as much as I see you releasing them and asking them to walk away. So it may be that you own the house or your name is on the lease and you're asking those people to go. This could also be an employment situation too, where you're an employer and you're feeling like you've got an employee that it's time for them to go. Maybe you just can't afford them anymore, or maybe you just feel like, I feel like it's more likely that you feel like it's just appropriate for them to go. I don't feel like it's so much about not affording them, actually, as I'm looking at this. It's just time to let them go do their own thing. And so that's what's going on in your subconscious. There's something about letting somebody go along on their way because your self-confidence is fine. You know that you can handle things without that person, whether it's in a personal aspect or a work aspect of your life. All right. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style. What do we have coming in? Hello. You are learning about some things that you definitely have some emotions about. You have some feelings around these things that you're learning about. I do think also you're learning a little bit about something that is mature or is coming into maturity. Okay? And I think you are learning about I want to say the word magic about it coming into maturity, although it's not really magic. To me, this is just math about this coming into maturity. For a lot of you, this is talking about like a bond or maybe a dividend-bearing stock or something like that. Some kind of investment coming into maturity where it would be a profitable time for you to capitalize on that. Okay, now obviously for a lot of you, this is not going to be about investments, but that's what's coming up as an example. But there's something that you're learning about the maturity cycle of it and the cycle of bringing it into maturity. This could even be about kids, actually, to tell you the truth. And if this is about kids, this could be that you have somebody helping you with that, whether it's somebody who has raised kids before or whether this is a therapist. There's somebody that is sort of helping you understand what's happening with the process as your kid is getting older. And then what else do we have for learning style? I think there are just some things that you're fascinated with, and that fascination is drawing in information for you as well during this time frame. So I'm liking this learning style a lot more than a couple of the others for this month. This is, so far, I'm really happy with this. Communication. What is going on? Money talks, baby. BS walks. Isn't that what AC/DC says? Some of the communication you're doing is with money. Maybe you are buying a vendor's block at a vendor's booth at some kind of fair or festival, or let's just say get together, conference, seminar, something like that. Okay? So money has something to do with your communication as we go through this month. You may be buying the opportunity to communicate. You could be buying time on a radio show. You could be buying an Instagram influencer, a position with an Instagram influencer, or something like that. Money is definitely highlighted in your communications. I do see you talking about money with other people and about the gifts that money can bring. Okay? I feel some of you just like kind of recoiling from this message as it comes out to you, but I think it's important to understand that money is nothing more but another form of energy. You know, it's people use it to have an even energy exchange. If you go to the hardware store and buy lumber to add a deck onto your house, what do you pay for it with? Money. If you get a psychic reading, what do you pay for it with? Money. Money can buy you just about anything that can be bought. It's a form of energy that you can exchange. So, to have conversations about money really isn't that much different than having a conversation about some other kind of spiritual enlightenment. And I know a lot of you are balking at that, but it's true. But a lot of us were brought up with this idea that to be poor is to be holy. That's a really ridiculous idea. Those of you who are Christians, look at Jesus. He was walking around preaching. You don't hear that he stopped and, took 1 or 2 days off of preaching to do some cabinet work, even though he was a carpenter. He didn't stop preaching to do carpenter work, but people supported him. People supported him with donations. He wasn't poor. You never hear about him not having enough food. You hear him even when the crowds didn't have enough food. He multiplied the food so that the crowds had plenty. He didn't ask anybody to be poor. He didn't ask anybody to be hungry. That has nothing to do with holy. Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox here. I think that with all this conversation about money, with all of the buying the slot where you can speak freely with your money, there is still a sense of unhappiness here. I don't think that sense of unhappiness is that you don't get to say what you need to say, as much as, to me, it's coming across that there's this sense that I think you feel that there is more that you should know. There's more that you should learn. And you feel like you're not really up to speed with what you need to know about money in general. And that's why there's this sense of unhappiness in the communication here. All right, next, we're going to look at work. Workity, work, 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 workity, work, work, work. This is really interesting. There is something going on with work for you Cancers that has to do with someone that is not sharing all the information that they have, even though it's totally appropriate for you to have all this information. And I think you're calling them out on it. You're giving them a wake-up call. You're like, you know what, if you want me to do my job and do it well, you're going to have to start sharing this information with me, otherwise I can't. You're tying my hands. And then I do see them coming up with the rest of the information. But it's going to take you giving them that wake-up call of, look, I can't do what you want me to do unless you share this information with me before they do it. Okay, let's look at inner work before I pick up these cards. Cancers, I think some of you have put your intuition on hold for a little while. And I think you're calling it back out. You're letting the divine know, you know what, I want to get tuned in again. I need access to this insider information that I used to have. And you're calling that out. You're paying attention to it. You're growing your intuition once again. Okay? All right. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. What do we have here? What is going on, guys? Cancers, I think that you're finding somebody new that you're falling in love with, and I think that this person, you're spending some time with this person away from home. I think to go and see this person, it's going to be away from home. I think you're intentionally spending time with them away from home. There's several reasons why that could be happening. That could be happening because you have kids and you don't feel like it's appropriate for them to meet the kids yet. For some of you, it may be that you have somebody already at home, and so this new person, it wouldn't be a very pleasant time if you brought this new person home while the old person's still there. But yeah, we've got third-party energy here, and I think that you're falling in love with a third-party person, and you are intentionally spending time with them that is time away from home. Okay, what are you standing up for, Cancer? What are you standing up for? I do think there's been some kind of breakup. I think there's been fighting. You're not very happy with somebody, whether this is a romantic interest or a friendship or whatever this is, a roommate, whatever. There's been some fighting. You're not very happy with this person anymore. You used to be. And I think you're releasing this person. I think you're letting them go. Letting them go. And this is what you're defending to somebody else. Somebody's asking you, why? Why'd you let that person go? You're standing up for yourself. What is this other person thinking about you after you stand up for yourself? They think that you're not very well in touch with the reality of things. And they think that first of all, they think that you're having a hard time bringing in what you want into your life. They also feel like you're being very selfish. And they feel like your selfishness is causing you to have a lack. Now, that's how this other person is seeing you. So far, I haven't seen this in the spread, but that's how this other person is seeing you. They're not my words. It's not how I'm seeing you. So don't be getting offended at me. That's all I'm saying. Don't be getting offended at me because somebody else thinks. We don't have to go there, do we? All right. Next. What are we looking at? We're looking at that flex point during the week for you where things start to sort of change direction. You have some choices to make. And I don't think you're really ready to make any choices right now, but you do have lots of options in front of you. There are multiple people who want to come into agreement with you or come into contract with you or maybe even want to get together with you romantically. So this could very easily be like job-wise, or it could very easily be romantic interest-wise. But you have lots of options here about who you can partner up with moving forward. And it looks to me like a lot of the people or companies that you could partner up with are people that you've been partnered up with before or companies that you've been partnered up with before. So you kind of know the routine. You kind of know how it goes with them. And so you have these options in front of you. So far, I don't see you actually making a decision as much as I see that you're recognizing that, I have all these options here. All right? Let's see what's going on at the same time. You're trying to focus on something that is not only fulfilling in a logical, let's think this out type of way, but also fulfilling in an emotional way. So it looks to me like you're thinking about these options in front of you and you're trying to figure out what would be the most fulfilling out of these on every level or on the most levels at least. At the same time that this is happening, there is a contract or an agreement that is coming to an end. And I think that you're severing it, like you're making sure that this is coming to an end. You're not allowing it to automatically renew when it expires. You're making sure that this comes to an end. And even though you're making sure it comes to an end, there's a sense here of disappointment that it's coming to an end. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here with you, Cancer. I see you cutting this thing off and being like, that's done finito, and then being disappointed that it's done finito. Meanwhile, still looking at options, same time looking at options and trying to find one that both your heart and your brain can agree on is a good option. So cutting out one thing that you know isn't it, still being disappointed as you cut it out though. Let's see what happens as you end this month. You are making some long-term plans to start. And I think that you're keeping this secret. You're keeping this close to your chest. You're not sharing with a lot of people what your long-term plans are. But you want stability, and your long-term plans are to bring that stability into your life, even though you're not telling everybody that's what you're all about right now. Maybe you're not choosing anybody. Maybe you're deciding, you know what, the only way for me to really bring stability in is to do this all by myself. All right. So that's your month, Cancers. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. Thank you also, like I said earlier, for sharing this video with others that may benefit from it. Thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions. And thank you, of course, for all the comments. I appreciate everything you guys do for me. Thank you so much. If I don't see you here for a live reading between now and the next video, then I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.